Hi and welcome back. So there's the anchor how we left it, and there's the part. So I straightened all these edges up and I've basically just sort of dragged it out of the way. So I'm just going to right click and just drag a marquee around it, and I'm just going to move it right out of the way and we can forget about it. That's done. So I'm going to hit the U key in here to unselect. The next thing we're going to work on is the rudder. So yet again we're going to select all the parts. That make up the rudder. I'm not going to select this part. I'm going to do that. Actually, no, we'll do that now as well. So I've got them all selected. I'm going to do Shift and H, and then Shift and A just to sort of zoom into my place. Now you've done the anchor and it's unselected. It doesn't matter what you do here. I can do a UV projection atlas, and it's not going to affect the rudder because it's not actually visible at the moment. So I'm just going to just do an atlas. We're just going to see. To be honest, let's just see how this is going to be in game. This is going to be like that. So the only poly you're really going to see is this top face there. So this is quite a nice model to unwrap if you want to go down the unwrap mode, because it's basically just cubes. So we can either leave it as it is, unwrapped like that, or we can sort of go in and try and unwrap this one. Okay. So the first thing, we've got no bottom on there, so we'll bomb up there. That's this piece here. Actually, I'm gonna take that top off. Just to sort of make things a bit neater, and I'll show you stitching in a minute, so we can stitch this piece back on to say this nice square piece there. Okay. Next thing we'll do is this has got a bottom on it, so let's come out of there. Now the seam would be better on one of these back ones, or will it? This is going to be inside the boat, but you are going to you might see that bit at the top there. So I'll put the seam along the back. I must have unselected those ones, so we'll just quickly put them back in. Now these two lumps on the top are going to be something totally different. They're going to be metal as opposed to the wood. So I'm going to just cut them cut them off totally. Like so. Let's just check that. Yep. Now this thing going through the middle here, the seam can be underneath, just so we don't see it ever. Let's see how we're getting on. It's getting there. All the time it's definitely getting better. So what else we've got to do now? We've just got the rudder piece, which is probably all this mess up down here. So let's go over to a wireframe just for a minute, because I think that's a separate piece. This is basically a cube again, so I'm gonna cut the bottom off. Okay, now the seam for this can be inside, so we're gonna go up there. In fact, I don't even know if there is a poly on the back there. If there is, that could go anyway. But we won't worry about that for the minute. We'll just... So... I'm just thinking where it's got to go to open up. Probably don't need that one. Okay, let me just go back over to shaded view and we'll unwrap that. Okay, let's just have a look. So it's obviously this section here. These panels are going to be a different, they're different actually models, you see, different bits of mesh. So, and they're going to be different, different materials. So that's good that they're. You can always put them back in if you want. You can just select these edges and stitch them back into these holes. But they're going to be a different material, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so I think that's done. So what we'll do now, I'll have a quick look round, make sure there's no overlap and red problems, which there's not. Okay. Right, spacebar drop tool. Now, some of the things you can do here, you can stitch some of these bits back on. Like this piece here is obviously this upright there. But when you come to put the texture on, the wood on, you might want the wood sort of the grain going across here, which in this case we're not, because if you think about it, this would probably be a solid piece of wood, so you can have like an end grain texture on the end there as opposed to sort of a side grain texture there. So in this instance it's probably just as easy to leave it off. But if you did want to stitch it back on, you can go onto edges, and if you select one edge, let's just select one up here, it'll tell you, so this square is this square here. Now if you select one edge, it'll tell you what the corresponding edge is, and then if you go over to move and sew, you can basically just move and sew this, and that'll basically, and that will snap that quad onto the top there. That's if you want to do that. So that's the rudder done. I'm not going to spend the time on camera straightening all these up, because that's just a case of, you know, selecting all these pieces, orientating them, and then moving the lines to make them vertical and things. So I'll do all that off camera. So that's the rudder done. and I'll see you back in a moment.